You said that your fans are getting into this create your own character when they're coming out to your shows. What is the most creative and best character or costume you guys have seen come to a show?
That's a good question. We've seen so many. I know that there's one of them being the Immortal Mistress is pretty incredible. We have, and I love it because they come up with their own villain names and everything that's just perfect. We have Washerwoman, who I'm a big fan of. Man,
I know. I can't think of all of them right now.
I'd literally be here for another hour going down names.
Well, if you think of any good ones, just chime in whenever. We'll keep the interview going, though.
Sounds good.
Now, do you guys have any favorite bands or artists that had new music come out or new music that's due to be put out that you're excited for?
I am looking forward to the soundtrack for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, actually.
That totally seems right up your alley.
Yeah, because I was a big fan of the score that Trent Reznor did for Social Network and Atticus Ross, and it was a really nice piece. So I'm excited to hear that.
He won an award for Social Network, too.
Yeah, he won the Oscar, actually. So that was a great score. I'm also looking forward to the new Dark Knight score.
Yeah.
Actually, Hans Zimmer does great stuff.
Did you read the interview that Nolan did with the magazine a couple weeks ago where he started talking about the new movie?
No, I didn't.
Oh, remind me and I'll tell you about that off air. We're not going to get into that right now.
3 hours later. We're
how about outside. Any favorite bands that have new music coming out that you're excited for?
I would say just a long-term classic favorite of mine would probably be Incubus, and I'm kind of... I don't know. I really like their old material, new material.
Yeah, I like their old stuff.
Well, that's hitting in on my new question. Do you have any favorite bands that had music come out that you maybe didn't meet your expectations, didn't like it all the way?
I think a lot of bands, especially more of the hard-hitting ones, they'll start off pretty hard-hitting, and then as time goes on, their albums tend to get a little bit softer.
Korn dubstep?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was actually pretty well done. It was pretty well produced.
Well, it's Korn. I mean, it's not going to be not well produced.
True.
All right, now I have a pretty sweet gig. I get to sit over here and interview 3 to 5 bands a day. If you guys got to take my job for one day, had to find one band or one artist who you wanted to pick at their mind a little bit, who would it be, and give me one of the questions you would want to ask them?
Is this like artist or band? Or just...
Either artist or band.
Probably Clive Barker.
What would you ask?
Where the hell that stuff comes from? Like, where do you get that? Like, what? Carrie's looking at me like...
I know who he is. You've taught me.
You've
taught me. I know he does scary things.
Yeah, yes, he does.
How about you, Carrie?
You know, two of my very favorite bands aren't even really touring anymore, like Metric and Garbage and bands like that. So I would probably get them on here and be like, you know, any chance ever again for a last, you know,
for a
hurrah or a tour. So.
And Richard Nash would ask when the Teletubbies are getting back.
Slam.
Now, are you guys aware of the news that CDs are going to be phased out at the end of 2012?
Not surprising.
Not aware, but been calling it for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Well, it's official that CDs are not going to be mass produced after 2012. The end of 2012 is the end for that. Does that affect you guys at all as being a band, or just personally, like not being able to go to a show and get a CD? I mean, you're going to get a digital download card now instead of being able to pick up a CD from a concert.
Yeah, I think honestly, you know, CDs are just as effective of a marketing tool, if not less so, than kind of some of the things like we've been talking about, like the download cards and other forms. I mean, really, it's about getting them to, you can't just give it to them, they have to take the next step and do something with it. So whether it's put it in their CD player or type it into their browser, and if everybody has smartphones now, then
you're right, it's instant.
It's probably quicker to do the download card.
I think that it doesn't affect us as a business model for selling the way that it would have, say, 6 years ago. We did a CD release show for the old band Digital Mindy, which Carrie actually performed with us at that show, at the Metro. We were headlining. It was our show. Draw was great. There were just tons of kids everywhere. They were really into it, and these were kids that had been waiting for this album for a while, a couple of years. And it came out, and we sold, I think, 20 copies. And I pulled some kid around. And like I said, we're headlining. This is our show.
Right.
Like, they're not there for somebody else. We're not opening for somebody else. I pull this kid aside, and I'm like, you little bastard, you tell me why I sold 20 CDs. And he's like, why? I was like, I'm sorry, I'll let you go. But I look at him, and I'm like, you know, like, what do you think happened there? And he's just like, oh, we all have it. We've had it for weeks.
Really?
And I'm like, where the hell did you get it? Well, it's because you have to send out for press.
Right.
And people upload shit.
It's just like the Lindsay Lohan Playboy thing, you know?
Yeah, it's already there.
Did you guys see the cover?
No, but I really want to at some point.
What do you think of the cover?
She's not Marilyn Monroe.
She's not Lindsay Lohan either. Doesn't look like Lindsay Lohan to me at all. But, I mean, that's just my thought. All right, well, guys, I think on top of the song I'm getting ready to play now, we're going to have time for an extra song, if that's okay.
Right
yeah,
on.
it's fine with me.
All right, what song should we play next?
Rise Above.
Anything you'd like to say about it before it gets played?
I'm excited about it. I actually wrote it this time last year, so I'm kind of happy that it's getting played and it's getting out there now.
All right, a year later, V is for Villains here on Fearless Radio, the New Music Binge. V is for Villains here on Fearless Radio, the New Music Binge. We actually just got a third member of the band here in the studio with us, Richard. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
How's the trip in today?
Rough.
You explained it a lot more colorfully when we were off the air.
Yeah, I did.
Well, I think you'd be happy to know that your buddy Nick over here said that you're going to be really excited whenever the Teletubbies get back together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I might.
I might.
Says whom?
Yeah.
Well, up next for the New Music Binge, we got Kill Hannah coming in. Nick, you said earlier that you used to go to Kill Hannah shows like all the time. You've seen them several times. Do you have any favorite stories or favorite moments from seeing Kill Hannah?
You know what? This is going to sound horrible, but I don't. Like, there was nothing overly, like, bad or good about it. Like, we just went to the shows.
All right.
They were good shows. I mean, this was like 9-10 years ago,
a while ago.
Yeah, back when they were doing like a little bit more of the independent, local kind of stuff. But it was a fun scene back then anyway. I mean, like, there's so many great bands, and they were one of them.
Last question I got for you guys. With technology, there's so many different ways to listen to music. You know, we used to have just the live show and the radio. We still have those, but now we have headphones, iPods, vinyl made a huge comeback. So my question is, when you guys get to sit down and listen to music, what is your favorite way to do that?
I still like listening to music in my car, just because you're encased in it. You can kind of turn it up as loud as you want. I don't know, when you're at home, you're listening to music on your computer, unless you have really good, speaker system. You're not getting the full thing.
Me personally, I'd say either some sort of MP3 player, like a iPod or a Zune. But my preferred method is my computer. It's kind of a hobby. I build computers, so I got some wicked sound cards and stuff. And I put on the studio monitors, and that's how I like listening.
Yeah, I do kind of the same thing actually. Whenever I want to like really listen to something, I put it in the studio, listen to it on the big speakers and stuff.
All right, well, V is for Villains, guys. Thanks for stopping in at Fearless Radio today.
Thank you so much.
Well, if people want to stay updated with Evolve or Die that's due out early next year, where can they find you guys out on the internet once again?
VIsForVillains.com.
That is awesome, Richard.
Richard making his presence known. All right, what song are we going to leave on today, guys?
Evolve or Die.
And this is going to be the title track off the upcoming album. Anything you'd like to say about it?
Well,
it's awesome.
It's I'm still debating with my mother what it's about. I've kind of told her, I'm like, it's either about a butterfly learning how to, come out of its cocoon, or a girl, learning how to touch herself. But we're still debating it. We're still debating it.
Oh, that's the best place to end this interview.
We should totally end right there.
We'll be back. New Music Binge continues here in about 15 minutes. Kill Hannah will be here in the studio with us, but this is V is for Villains, Evolve or Die here on Fearless Radio, the New Music Binge.